Today is the last day Hoosiers will have a chance to testify to Indiana lawmakers about Senate Bill 1 and the future of abortions in the state. Good afternoon and welcome to 13 News at noon. I'm Julia Moffitt. Right now, public testimony is going on in front of a House committee at the State House. This after a number of amendments have been added to that bill. Our Rich Nye is at the State House with more on the testimony, the protests, and the companion bill about women's health care. Rich, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Julia. Yeah, there is a lot going on at the State House today on a couple of different bills. We are live outside the Indiana House chambers. Last week, we saw those huge rallies from both anti-abortion and abortion access advocates. Not those huge numbers today, but certainly a passionate, good-sized crowd outside the Indiana House chambers today as there is public testimony on the abortion bill. You can see abortion rights advocates are wearing green today, many of them, and we've heard them cheer as testimony is given inside the House chambers. Earlier this morning, there was singing from both sides of this issue, and they are here today in good numbers, many of them lined up and signed up to testify. Now, meantime, inside the chambers, public testimony continues. And before this testimony began this morning, the House committee has already made significant changes to the abortion bill passed by the Senate. Victims of rape and incest would have 10 weeks now to get an abortion, no matter the age of the woman. But those women would no longer have to sign an affidavit confirming that they were sexually assaulted. And a third change in that amendment, also removing language that would have let the Attorney General prosecute crimes that the county prosecutor refused to prosecute. So those changes already made to the bill, Senate Bill 1, in House committee this morning. And now that committee is hearing public testimony. We heard from two OBGYNs this morning with opposing views on Senate Bill 1.
I am here today because I care deeply for both my patients and about protecting them from the harms of abortion. We have a chance to do that by ending elective abortions while still allowing women to receive life-saving treatments. While the amended version of SB 1 comes closer to doing this, there are still improvements that need to be made, including protections of children with severe disabilities and those conceived in rape.
In my specialty, I see patients on some of the best days of their lives, but by virtue of my high-risk practice, I also see patients on some of their most difficult days. I see the patient who develops heart failure early on in her pregnancy. Continuing the pregnancy would significantly increase her chances of irreversible heart damage or even death.
And live again back outside here at the Indiana House chambers where that public testimony is expected to continue, most of the day. You see a group of abortion rights advocates here, again, many of them wearing green, standing outside the House chambers and cheering many of those who are testifying inside. Meantime, the House Ways and Means Committee amended and passed Senate Bill 2 this morning onto the full House, but it doesn't really look like Senate Bill 2 anymore. They stripped the language of that bill, and it now reads like House Bill 1001, which the House passed last week. To narrow it down, that bill now focuses on a $225 tax refund with about $58 million in funding for families and mothers. Tomorrow, the Senate will consider House Bill 1001. And so what has to happen here eventually is it looks like the two sides are going to have to agree on something that includes some kind of taxpayer refund for the initial purpose of this special session, which was financial relief to Hoosiers. If something's going to pass in that regard, it looks like it's going to have to contain, a tax refund. And Julia, Senate Bill 3, which is the Senate's idea for financial relief, it included that gas tax and utilities tax suspension. Right now, that bill is on hold in the House and doesn't have a committee hearing. It could be dead. We'll have the latest for you throughout the afternoon. A long day of testimony still here ahead on Senate Bill 1, the abortion bill, now being considered in the House.
All right, Rich, I know a lot there for you to cover this afternoon. We appreciate it. Thank you. We'll look for your reports tonight at 5. You can also watch that testimony live and follow along as the abortion bill moves through the House. Just head over to WTHR.com/Indiana-abortion.